Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Good morning, everyone. And normally I say good afternoon, but today we have a special edition of the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are coming in early. It's 8 a.m. local time in Arizona, and we're just kind of waking up here, and the weather couldn't be any more phenomenal than it is right now. I mean, 50, 60, and 70 degree days and evenings in Arizona, that's a miracle. And so it's why we live here. But I'm so excited that each and every one of you are here today. My name is Robert Jones. I am the how would I say, the theatrical leader of this show, or something like that. The only leader of this show, you know, the cat in the hat. But I want to thank you for being here today. And just a few things going on in the community. And I always like to start our day with a little bit of tidbits. We just have about 6 or 7 pages left in the in the Art of Connection book, 365 Days of Abundance by entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers. And we're currently securing those last pages. So if you would like to get in this book, which is worldwide acclaimed, it has the largest heart-centered, like-minded group of entrepreneurs in the world, then this is the book for you. So you can go to 365 Days of Abundance Quotes.com and you can secure your page there. And here's a hint. Right now, for these last few pages, we have a special promo code, Closeout 168. That's Closeout 168. Instead of the sale price of $379, you can get your page and be a part of history for only $211. So, but don't wait. Those pages will definitely go very quickly. Also like us. Please like us on Facebook, like us at YouTube. We want to hear from you. Give us your comments, and even, you know, put some words of affirmation throughout our banners that we promote worldwide. Also, we promote and create 2 magazines, the Contemporary Woman magazine and the iNetrepreneur magazine as well. Also, we put on over 1,000. Every time I say that, I'm like, oh my goodness, 1,000 meetings and events. We put on over 1,000 meetings and events each and every year. You can go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. You can find both local and virtual events so you can meet others just like you. And so I'm excited today. I feel like I have a long lost friend coming on to the show today, and I want to welcome her. Let's give her like a round of waving hands as she comes on. Alex Vitillo. How are you, Alex?
Hello, everybody live. Thank you for starting the show a little earlier, because I am on the other side of the pond and it's late afternoon here.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting when I speak with you, I think of you, and you're in England now. But one of the little things that I know about you is that you're actually from Italy originally. And so that's what I love about the world now. I'm in the United States, you're living in England, and you actually, you know, are native to Italy. But here we are being able to come together on this show and through the book, The Art of Connection, and many other ways just to get together. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing what technology can do. Absolutely.
You know, and technology was a background that I I used to be in until I gave it up. I say I'm a recovering programmer. No more programming for me. Everyone, again, I'm with Alex Vitillo. She is the speaker. She's a speaker, international best-selling author, television host. She is the owner and founder of Breathing Heart Consultancy. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. My goodness. But more than that, she's a great friend. she's a wonderful healer, a healer of vibration, a healer of light, a healer of energy. And we're going to be diving into Alex and what makes her tick today, because that vibrational energy is coming across the pond right now. You can reach out to her. I have her email address there. And if you are wild enough to do it, she's brave enough to have her phone number, her English phone number on here, just reach out and give her a call. Alex, let's talk about a few things, because when I dive into your background, and I really want to kind of get to know you a little bit better. I have a saying that says, once you live to your 40 or 50 years old, or even 60, as I am now, if you haven't lived 5, 6, or 7 lives, you just haven't lived. And you have lived an amazing amount of lives. And one of the first professions that you were in, which you're still slightly in, is the power of currency, which some of us call money. What was your fascination about, starting your career in the financial world of all things?
Absolutely. So I'm going to take you in a step back, how amazing technology works and how we connect. And because I bring with me my childhood from Africa. So I'm an Italian who grew up in Africa and now came to study at the age of 20 in the UK. And I chose finance because I thought and I knew it was going to open a lot of doors. So I wanted to travel. I still wanted to have that international flavor that I had when I was a kid. And finance ticked a lot of those boxes. And from stability and maybe a cultural background of doing things in a way where you want to feel safe and secure, and at least back then, finance and economics was definitely one of those street and avenue to reach stability, to travel the world, to have really, I'm going to say, a rich lifestyle, not only of monetary, but also cultural wise, because London is a hub of many, many culture, and especially the financial sector. You'll find people from every nationality, every background. And so it's a very, very rich background and environment to really be in.
Yep. And it's interesting to me because in the United States, we've changed a lot. In the last 40 and 50 years, we are embracing women into certain vocations, certain degrees, certain professions that we've never seen before. And now, even more lately, we're also embracing men going into professions that were dominated by women. And I don't know what it was like, maybe being born in Italy or growing up in Africa and then going to London. But, I can't imagine that you didn't have barriers, in subtle ways, being a woman going into a financial and in economics vocation. Tell us a little bit about your career being a woman, especially early on in the financial world.
So definitely I have to say, probably London compared to even Italy, a lot more open. That said, I was still on a trading floor dominated by men.
Yeah.
But maybe being appreciated for being different. And I know people used to say, oh, you bring a fresh air and you're really different and you light up the trading floor. But I was still paid less than a man. So it was all good. It was all good.
It's all good until the paycheck, right?
Yes, they are this amazing energy. But at the end of the game, really, the women are still paid a lot less than men, and there's still less women on the trading floor than before. And in the coaching world, maybe, which is my world, it's the opposite. There are more women than men, but still there is a financial gap. And I think my generation is here to really, really help that wall come down and say, why do we need to be paid less? Why do we need to, even if we take a career break and have children, and why do we need to renounce the money? And some of it is to our own responsibility, especially as self-employed women.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I think about you with is, you really dig into just people in general. Your suit is a woman, and, very evident. But I think one of the things that you really have a good connection with is helping people unlock potential. And I think it's very incredible in the ways that you allow people access to, let's say being artsy, or being what we call foo-foo, or being spiritual, or being shamanic, we could say. And for the longest of times, those doors seemed to be closed to people who had maybe, let's say, spiritual gifts. And I think that that's what you do, is you give those who have spiritual gifts, they don't have to live in poverty. They don't have to feel like they are not deserving of being provided for their gifts. You help give them a vibration that they can unlock their potential, and they can also achieve as well. And, as you keep growing as a shamanic priestess, as you keep growing in your world of wealth and well-being, you really take that up to champion others to follow your footsteps so they can do the same, and it might not always been that way, but tell us a little bit about why are you taking up this journey, and why is it so important for you to offer up this journey for others to follow in your footsteps?
Because I've been on both sides. So I've been on the financial side, which was predominantly male dominated. The man is making more money than the woman, but maybe not so open from a heart perspective, not so open to intuition, not so open to what we might call the spiritual. And that was bringing really a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. Traders had to go through anger management, and they didn't do it pleasantly. It was almost like they were broken and they had to be fixed.
Yeah.
And then I experienced the other side, which is the healing side, the spiritual side, the nurturing side, which is predominated by women, but by women that have been growing up with this culture of maybe we're not good enough, maybe we don't know how to hold the stage, maybe we don't know how to talk about ourselves. We predominantly look after children, we predominantly support our spouses generally. And so to be able to say, okay, I want to have my own business. And fortunately, because they're heart-centered, they create a business to support others, but they forget that the financial aspect is one of the predominant aspects. And it's very hard to open a book and say, okay, this is how you offer your services, this is how you charge, and this is the price, because it never works unless you're aligned to that frequency of your value, the frequency, what you put in your services, the love you put in your services, and how you attract clients, especially in this world of online, overpopulated, overjudged. If you say I'm a coach, people say, oh, rip off, typically. So it's very hard to keep that spotlight on you for more than, I think it's 8 seconds now. So in these 8 seconds, people have to truly convey their value, grounded value, and say, I'm the best person for you, if they really are. And that takes a lot of work behind the scenes in able to show up like I'm showing up to you today and say, work with me, you're going to get results. That I know of. But I had a lot of work to do. So I understand that work. I understand the limitation, and it's not a good place to be.
Well, for me, it takes an extreme amount of confidence. And what's so funny is, I have learned from you, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've implemented that I've learned quite a bit is, they're in entrepreneurship and business ownership, authors, speakers, everyone that I work with, there's 5 spheres. We have 5 spheres that all evolve around of us: our heart sphere, our mind sphere, our physical sphere, our spiritual sphere, and then this other thing. This is the energy sphere, the currency sphere, or even what I call the money sphere. And what's so crazy is, people who live in the money sphere, they have no fear of that part of their life. Now, they may be failing in spirituality. They may be failing in their physical self, no self-care, even in their heart and their mind, but they're making damn good money and they're awfully damn successful, but they're also some of the most unhappy people in the world too. you know, and then you have this other side, right? And, you know, the heart space, and life is great. And we live in this wonderful world, but they also don't have a future that will support them in the later years. And I look at what you're doing is you're helping to integrate all of these spheres. And this is like entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers, really wake up to this. You cannot be an expert in every sphere. You can know about those spheres. You can learn from others who have adapted to utilize all those spheres, but to be master of every sphere is nearly impossible. And that's what I've learned from you. And what you've done is you've helped create a light, especially for our healing audience, to say, yes, you too can become this. But you've also taken, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm leading up a lot for you, but you've also taken financial people and you've also allowed them to live differently as well. And I think that you live in a very wonderful space. And I just wanted to make sure, am I reading you right when I'm looking at what you're doing by utilizing your gifts for the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when I see a lot of schools at the moment when I say professional healers, become a stylist, become a healer, become a shaman, fantastic.
Yeah.
But the thing they don't teach you, and I know because I've trained as a shaman for years, I've trained as an energy healer for years, but what they don't teach you is how do you market yourself? So there is this plethora of people that are really highly qualified, really heart-centered, but they need to go and find a job because their business is not taking off. And so for me, it is paramount, like you say, to really consider the sphere of money as its own sphere. And when you align it to the other spheres, then you have a beautiful business, then you have a beautiful lifestyle. And the same if you're in the money, pure and crude, you want to bring that softness, that element of a higher power, let's call it spirituality, let's call it guidance, let's call it the way you want to call it. But allowing yourself to, that's going to give you the self-care, that's going to give you, now I can push through and work over the weekend, but maybe Monday I take a day off. This is going to be a good client for me, not a good client. And that is also in banking, right? You want to know what trade you want to place, what bet you want to. So it has to come into balance. And I think because I have both of this world in me really, really deep, I didn't just wake up one day and as a master in economics. I studied hard.
Yeah.
I studied hard. And the same for my energy healing. I've got psychic gift, but I studied hard. I trained, I practiced. And so I know where people are and I know what's the next best step for them in both worlds.
Well, I think the first word that comes to mind for me in regarding you and what you do is sacrifice. And I believe sometimes when we're in non-money professions, we sometimes don't necessarily take the steps to sacrifice what is good to create a business out of our gifts. And sometimes we're very apologetic on doing these things. And I think what you've done is you've come from the path of really having to sacrifice a lot of different things, because you could have just been in that space without learning business. You could have been in that space without getting onto network. You could have been in that space without attempting to be a business owner and do all those icky business things. That takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of effort and energy and even resources. Why do so many people in the healing hearts industry, and that's one that I'm very near and dear to myself, I'm Entrepreneur Network Together is very open to healing arts, because I believe that entrepreneurs spend far too much time on what they do and not enough time on who they are. But why is this? Why is there not a completeness? Why is there not a collaborative feel to business in healing arts? What is this gap, and how can we bridge it more?
That's a bit of a controversial question, or maybe answer only. Your question is very legit. but my answer might trigger somebody.
Yeah,
So
and I want you to know you can hear me because it is a place that I really want to open up space to, because it's very, very challenging, because sometimes people look at being spiritual as sometimes even being weak, when I say that it absolutely is not.
it's not being weak. I'm going to look at it from the other angle. And this is where I say I might be triggering, because there is a movement recently of spiritual people talking about the new world, the new earth, the new codes. Great, great, great. And what they believe is money and the patriarchy system of doing money is collapsing. So things that worked before are not working anymore. And their ways, money, it's one of the old things. We don't need money anymore. Let's forget about money. And this is why I'm saying it's controversial, because to this day, and maybe in 10 years' time, it's going to be different. But to this day, we're still renting home. We're still buying our food. We're still getting rewarded. If we want to go to Mars now, we can, but it's costing money.
Right.
And I cannot wait for the day. I know we can teletransport. I know we can use our soul to just go to Mars. But today and tomorrow, and probably for the next 10 years, we still need the shuttle. And the shuttle is going to cost money. So there is this new wave of, oh, I don't need to look into money, because it's almost the opposite of, it's like poo-pooing the money. And by doing so, there is this riffraff of, I'm too good for looking into money. I'm too good to do business the way of, putting my head down, like you said, training and do the strategy and do the networking.
The sacrificing part.
Sacrifice, networking. Why networking? If it's meant to be, will be. If the time will come, it will. I'll be famous one day.
Right.
And they don't work at it. And this is some of the danger of being airy-fairy. This is why I say I can bring you the groundiness of saying, come back, star seeds, come back. That you are in this world. You're not on the stars for now. You choose to be here. You got to obey to the law of this universe. And money, it's one of these laws so far. When it'll change, fantastic. We're all going to do something else. But at the moment, there is too much talk of it's old school. But unfortunately, this is where we are.
Well, and it's really interesting, because, when we talk about it's old school, and, for some of us, sometimes we really need to go old school. Sometimes we need to look at this spiritual existence of how we are a part of the universe, and really look at the thousands of years of observation and training through the mentoring model that we've brought, and we've actually been able to move forward. And I think sometimes technology, for how great it is, actually creates a shallow shell, where what we have, like even with Eastern training or Eastern philosophy, or our medicines, or our chakras, or the electricity that goes through our body, I think what we're doing is we're saying money wrong, and when I talk about money and I talk about the financial, really what it is, it's just a mechanism that barters trade. It's a mechanism that barters a gratia, right? And so, with gratitude and with abundance, I've really learned that, money really is a conduit. And in the same way, like you say that you're a money breakthrough coach, I like to think of you as that you're more of a money breakthrough conduit, because you really break outside the certain conventions that we seem to want to put on ourselves. And a lot of times I feel like, for a lot of us, there's a herd mentality, and we jump on a recent thing until we drive it into the ground, until the next thing comes along. But I think you and I both know, old school is not something that just flashes in the pan and it comes and goes. It's foundational, it's universal, and it's very connective. What are your thoughts on old school philosophies in regarding money and regarding business, and some of these new concepts that are coming out?
Well, again, as you're talking, the one thing I'm thinking is, especially let's make something very simple in terms of business, every business needs a sale. And we have now talk
Right.
about automations and funnels and post automated. Everything is automated. Everything is technology. I think there's AI doing sales calls at the moment.
Yeah.
But really, we forget that you and I, like, we met on a networking event. You and
Right.
I started to do business because we're talking to each other. You and I have started to, meet other people and grow our businesses from picking up the phone. So that's what I call old school, and it still works. It still
Right.
works a lot better. Yes, of course, then you can, do all the complicated things. But if you are at a stage of thinking, I'm not selling, look at your connections, pick up the phone, and again, with your heart and your gratitude and your servitude, just say, hey, I've got this. Are you interested in this? It can change your life.
You
Yes
know,
or no?
you brought up something that you gave me goosebumps. You gave me goosebumps because the word that comes to mind, that I get downloaded is reliance. The word reliance, and once we rely on AI, and once we rely on funnels, and once we rely on all those things, we actually start abdicating, our own thoughts, our own spirit, our own initiative, our own relationships. I mean, I saw it back in the 90s, in early 2000s when I was a programmer. I said, technology doesn't speed the rate of relationship growth. Technology speeds up the ability to connect and communicate. But at the end of the day, relationships only travel at the same speed as you and I. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that we do is when we start relying on technology so much, and we abdicate who we are, and quite frankly, someone's abdicating what's on the other end. I call it, the food dish. Once that food dish disappears, then what do you have? All of a sudden, your friends cease to exist. Your business partners cease to exist. Your relationships cease to exist because you have abdicated the power of the entrainment that happens when you have relationships
Absolutely.
in social conventions, etc. And one of the things why I'm going from my Entrepreneur Network, Alex, back to Network Together, is because Entrepreneur Network is more of an umbrella, but at the end of the day, it is about networking you and I together. In many ways, technology is really breaking a lot of those social conventions away. And what I want to do is bring those back, because at the end of the day, until bots start, buying, buying for what I want in my life, right? It's usually I'm buying, I'm the person at the other end, or you're the person at the other end. And I think sometimes we forget that, don't we?
We might forget, well, not you and I clearly, but a lot of people forget. And one of the things that I hear a lot is, again, let's talking about growing a business. People say, oh, networking takes too long. But again, that's an illusion, because you might be, like I said, set up an automation and find 10 new clients that are going to drop as quickly as you find them, because you don't have that heart-to-heart connection. Well, once you've got this connection through networking and you understand the other person on an intimate level, I want to say, right? Then that relationship is there forever, and they're going to buy from you one time, two times. Like, this is my third book. This one is the last one. I signed up to my third or fourth book, remind me, right? So I come back year after year. But if I just had found a coupon on the internet somewhere without knowing you, I probably would have bought maybe the first time, but not necessarily have seen it the second time. So yeah, I think we want to come back to the basics of what is one of the pleasure of being in business. And I think unless your clients are part of that pleasure, your business is never going to be rewarding. Never.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer of that. Why did we get into business? Why did we decide, to be a prophet of our profit? And for many of us, it's because there's a need or a necessity, and we have the gifts to fulfill that void. And a lot of it is all about fulfillment. And I say entrepreneurs don't give up. They don't die or whatever, however you want to say it, because of they don't lack resources, or they don't lack passion, or they don't lack knowledge. Many times they fail. Let's say they fail in their business anyway because of loneliness, because they attempt to rely on stuff to do all the things for them. Or at the end of the day, if they had nurturing, wonderful relationships around them, they would have the foundation that would sustain them and their pocketbook. And I think that we forget about that one time. I remember this is really interesting. And I don't know if you've heard of Linsco Private Ledger, but Linsco Private Ledger was one of the businesses that I worked for. And they're a trading company, and they have broker-dealer offices all around the United States, and they're very, very successful. And I remember one of my bosses said, when it comes to my profession, there's emails, there's texts, there's phone calls, and there's doing stuff in person. He says, yeah, we'll canvas with emails. We create response through texts. He said, I can pick up the phone for my good clients, but he said, my best clients, they're always met in person. And I will never forget that. My best clients are always met in person. And I think sometimes we forget about that, because it's in those in-person meetings that actually give us the sustainable, emotional energy that creates the energy that flows through the other areas. And I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what he said.
I absolutely agree, and I'm smiling because not too long ago, so again, maybe call it intuition, but before COVID, I had an intuition that I wanted to go online. Don't ask me why. I just thought, I'm closing my therapy space, I'm going online. And that gave me the vantage point of when everybody closed, I wasn't so stressed out in how do I do it, what do I do. Actually worked really well for me, because people started to open up healing at a distance. That all of a sudden they believed that you could heal somebody at a distance. Well, before It was a little bit challenging. Now, a few months ago, I went the other way around. So like you said, I decided that for my best clients, people that wanted to really dive deep, we're meeting in person. And we either meeting in person in London for a day, or we're meeting in Tuscany for 5 days. They get to choose. But this is exactly a reflection of what your boss at the time said, which is there is something special.
We just paused a little bit. Now everyone, Alex is in from England.
Okay. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yes.
You're back.
So there is something really, really powerful in saying, I'm meeting you in person. I'm making time for you. I'm looking after you, whether it's for 1 day or, like I said, for 5 days. You're going to be my guest. I'm going to really make sure you feel at ease. And in those times, they're relaxed, and then you can do the work. And then you can start to really, really care for them. And this is why we are heart-centered entrepreneur. For me, is I love my clients. I think about them every now and then. I send them voice messages. If I don't hear from them, I'm going, whether they're still clients or not. I want to clarify that.
I agree. I mean, you do. You show up.
I show up.
Yes. And so sometimes, when I hear that, showing up is more, I say, you got to show up to glow up, and then you'll blow up. That's my saying. I always say that a lot. But showing up isn't just, being there in person, in which I still think is most important. But showing up is showing up in that space in between. It is where you can have an edifying text, or a personal email, or a heartfelt call. But I think, again, but what we're saying is those are side dishes. The main dish that I believe that you and I want is, we really want people to start connecting again, because I believe that we spend far too much time working on the things that we believe will work for us, instead of working on the things that will work for us. And I know this, when I am in a room full of people, I know automatically without any technology at all who I can work with, and probably they can figure out who they can work with. And if we align together, guess what? We have an arrangement. And I think that is the power of the networking place that we all forget. Again, in my corporate world, it was all about creating awareness, then, exposure to products and services, building client base, becoming profitable, and scale and expansion. But I think a big part of the problem here is you cannot scale and expand without scaling and expanding with people in mind. And I think that's why corporations lose touch. So, everyone, I am with Alex Vitillo. She's a published author, an international best-selling published author. She's a TV host and international speaker, and she's the founder and owner of the Breathing Heart Consultancy. Got to get that word. You can reach her at alex@breathingheart.co.uk or call her at that long number there. And we're just going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to chat with Alex just a little bit more. Alex, you're wonderful. We'll just take a little bit break, about 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and I'll have you right back on. Again, I am with Alex Vitillo. She's a published author, international best-selling author, TV host, international speaker, and founder and owner of the Breathing Heart Consultancy. You can reach her at alex@breathingheart.co.uk, or you can call her at that long English number that's scrolling across the screen right now. And Alex, I know with AI and all the transcription tools that you have out there, I love to say who you are and what you do several times to make sure that it gets into our feeds, because, hey, we can have a great show, but if no one can find who you are, then we just had a great show for you and me. And so we definitely want more people to find you and find the beauty of who you are and what you do for the world. So I'm going to go on a little bit direction. I'm going to ask some just really quick questions and just get your thought on it. And you have coined the term, and I said it a little bit earlier, money breakthrough coach. Now I called you the money breakthrough conduit. What is a money breakthrough coach, and what is a money breakthrough coach offer by way of us entrepreneurs out there?
So it's when people think, I do research all the time, and it's a term that comes from the money queen of all, which is Kendall Summerhook. She's my mentor, my teacher. But when I ask people, what do you think a money breakthrough coach, they generally say to me, I think it's a bloke, it's, I think, an English expression, guy, coming into my business who's going to look at the money in a greedy way and ask me to do things that I'm not the one want to do. And I say, I couldn't be more far from that definition. So the thing to remember about money breakthrough is that we all have a relationship with money, whether we are employed, not employed, self-employed, everybody has a relationship with money. And my job is to understand, what is that relationship? What do you really believe, especially if you're an entrepreneur, because that's going to show up in your bank account. So we might say, I've got the best automation, I've got the best marketing team. I'm not selling. What is happening? And this referred to what you were saying before, Robert, of we might be working on what we think we need to work on, but what it's really needing attention is that relationship with money. Whatever level you're at, people making lots of money are worried about losing it, worried about losing their status, So they don't sleep. So they work even harder. People not making enough money thinks that maybe money is evil. Maybe money is going to corrupt it. Maybe, asking money in return for one of your gifts, it comes so easily to you. Why should I be pricing myself?
Yeah.
And so my job and skills and expertise is to really see from an individual perspective, what is their relationship? How is it showing up in the bank account? How is it showing up in your confidence? How is it showing up in the offers you make? How is it showing up in pricing 1,000 a day or 5,000 a day? That's a big gap. And the reason is all in that relationship.
Well, and it's really interesting because I think that relationship is very telling because it shows up in your relationships, not just inside of you, but your relationships outside of you. And, and I believe that people can feel that as well. When you look at us as beings, I mean, our physical self stops here, let's say, but the emotional, spiritual essence of who we are extends far out there from the body language to our smile to actually the feeling. And I think that our money consciousness or even subconsciousness, if you have it, also extends as well. Would you believe that?
Absolutely. And it's more the subconscious part, because the conscious one, we might believe something about money. We know we believe it. We know we like money, for instance. We know we like to live in luxury. But subconsciously, what do we really believe? Subconsciously, maybe we were brought up thinking money was evil. Maybe we were brought up in a community where the poorer, the better, the more. So, and people feel that. So again, they're going to buy from somebody who gives them that feeling of, I'm comfortable with receiving money for my packages. I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I'm comfortable in my prices. Because if you're not, and I say to a lot of people who starts their business, if you start pricing low, don't think that you're going to sell more, because that's another sign that people will pick up from your insecurity. So I always say, would you rather have surgery with somebody you're paying $10 or $100,000? I know where I'm going, right? I'm not putting myself under the knife for a $10. And it's the same in healing. It's the same, whatever things you're selling, that is your talents, your skills. If you serving another person, you need to give them that confidence, and you need to believe in yourself. And underpricing yourself is as equal problem as overcharging, but nobody talks about undercharging.
But see, one of the things that I think that we don't actually quantify enough, and actually qualify, is space and time. And what I mean by that is, time for ourselves, so we can take time off, so we can vibrate with a different energy, so we can have space to provide for others, including ourselves. And part of pricing higher in certain respects, it does go again with your clients, but it also goes in that it allows you to live at a different frequency. It allows you to serve deeper and better for those you're serving because you don't need as many. And it does allow, for some enrichment that comes along with it. And I think that those are the benefits that sometimes people don't actually think about. Because if I'm trying to make $1 million in a year, and I myself, I'm trying to serve 1,000 clients, versus, let's say I'm making $1 million a year and I'm serving 100 clients, what would life look like when it comes to the space that I can provide for myself, my family, my community, and my clients, and the time I can spend on my clients, providing them a beauty that I might not otherwise? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. And again, this is where, like you said, there is a choice to be made. I said, do you want to have a boutique business or do you want to have a mass market business? You choose. You want to sell $27 products, you need a lot of those products. And it's not easier to sell a $27 than to sell a 50K service. It's maybe the opposite. So I think in this world of heart-centered. We really want to be going towards the premium, less clients, but a higher price point, because it enriches their
And
life.
that allows the heart to be
And
a
it
part.
allows the heart, absolutely. It allows you as well, again, to eat organic, to take time for traveling, to take time for a retreat, to have your own coach and mentor. If you're,
And
servicing
have relationships again.
So absolutely, Robert.
I see. I love it when you and I get together, because we just have to do this
Fire.
more. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And that's what's so interesting. One of the questions that you've brought up before is, does everyone need a coach? And I have myself think about that, like, does everyone need a coach? And I myself say, why stop with a coach? I mean, I look at, like, how do I create a sphere where it's like I have multiple coaches and in ways I can also coach multiple ways as well. And I think when you really have a good or even great tribe around you, that inner circle, it's not just a coach. It's your coach. It's our coach. It's a connectivity of coaches, because we can get so much more. But tell me about what coaching looks like for you, as to receive it and also to provide it.
So again, that went with experimenting, because I'm one of those person. If I want something, it's, again, when I was pregnant with my first son, I wanted to keep my body. So my options was, do I still go to the gym or don't I go to the gym? Yes, I still go to the gym. I'm pregnant. Am I going to do self-help exercising, or am I going to get a coach? Now I'm going to get a coach, because I want fastest result, maximum impact, and have a certain condition. I'm pregnant, so I cannot do all the things I want, right? Then you need a nutritionist, because again, you want to look after your health. Right. And to me, this is a beautiful way to support yourself, because like we said at the beginning of the show, you cannot be a master in every area of your life. And it will be pretentious to say, I'm the queen of nutrition, the queen of exercise. Yes, I studied aerobics. I did a lot of things, but still, I want to be looked after in those areas.
Yeah.
And when it came to my own coaching, so I trialed many coaches, and sometimes it's more than one at times. And what I decided works really well for me, rather than group coaching, which is more of the community, and it's a different objective for me in that sense. It's one-to-one coaching. So again, somebody who's going to push me where I can be pushed, sometimes put some answers in front of me if I'm really stuck. And this is, again, what I really like to offer to clients. I really happily hold trainings in group, but when it comes to coaching, I love one-to-one. And I also love to use some of the more psychic skills in my coaching, which is, I will tell you the answer for A and B. We still get to look into why you want to choose A or B, but I'm not just one of those coaches that is going to answer your question with an answer. I'm going to, if I feel, there's more than one answer, I'm going to lay them down for you. And then we choose the fastest path to achieve where you want to go. And it's a beautiful relationship. It's, create a wonderful relationship.
Well,
clients.
And see, and this is where I think that you have, in a certain way, you have in our countries, a leg up, which sounds funny, a leg up. I never really understood that, but what I say, let's just say, a competitive advantage, a natural competitive advantage, because one of the things that I know, and it's for me and many people, and it goes back to like being a successful business owner versus not a successful business owner. A lot of it's confidence, but confidence comes from belief, a belief that says, I can live prosperous, a belief that says, I am successful, a belief that says, I'm going to do things that I've never done before, think things I've never thought before, go places I've never been before. And so much of it, in your world is about belief. And that's where I believe that the spirituality that you provide and that mind heart is so important.
Sorry, I've got a guess.
No problem. That's why you have a cat just like my cat. My cat's Kitty Boy. Love my cat.
Everybody.
but you and so but not but and what I'm saying is that in your space, what creates a beauty to your space is having that awareness and having that training of being able to sit with your clients and know, like, what we call the X's and O's, or the zeros and ones, and also understanding them from a vibrational sense, on that you can feel their answers and you can identify their needs in such a way that their words can't or won't. And I think that is something that, far too often I don't hear you speak of too much, but it is, in my opinion, a gift that you do have, and it is a gift that you should speak more of.
Absolutely. And thank you for the invitation. Yes, because I feel the clients. So sometimes they might not know where they want to go, but I can see it, really psychically see it. So it's easier for me to lay it out in front of them. Or if they're speaking about something and I know it's not the truth, but not the truth because they're hiding something from me, but it's the vision beyond the vision. Like, there's a deeper layer that they don't know about. Again, I feel it. I physically, it's like I become the channel for the client. And then I know which words to say, where to push them, where not to push them. And for some of the people that see me on, I often do live TV shows, and I preach a lot. I come across as, this is wrong, don't do this, don't do that. But when I'm in front of a client, ask them, I'm very loving, very caring, very supportive, very calm. And really, I provide that space for them to say, we're dropping the mask. Who are you? And the person they are, most often than not, is a much stronger, powerful, capable person that have been hiding somewhere for whatever reasons. We're not going to go into that.
Oh my God. No, I love that, because it's the difference between who you are and what you've been told as to who you are.
Absolutely.
And that to me, I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. That to me is the strongest place that we can give any human, is helping provide a pathway for them to see, this is who I am. And whatever's been loaded on top of me, if I choose, doesn't need to exist.
Absolutely. And you gave me goosebumps, because sometimes clients says to me, Alex, I see what you see, but I don't believe it yet. And they say to me, can you hold that vision for me? And this is where normally I really melt down, and I say, yes, of course, this is what I'm here to hold their vision. So while they believe, it takes steps to believe. It's not going to happen just overnight.
Absolutely.
But they say, hold that vision for me, Alex, and I'll get there. And they all get there. But could they get there on their own? No. No.
I love that. Everyone, I'm with Alex Vitillo. She is a published author, international best-selling. I'm putting that in there. TV host, international speaker, and founder of Breathing Heart Consultancy. You can reach her at Alex at breathingheart.co.uk, or you can call her at +478-336-61149. Oh my goodness, that was tough.
That was a good one.
Alex, thank you so much for being on the show. Are there any other ways? Do you have any events coming up, or what are some other ways that we can get more of Alex?
I'm at a summit starting on Friday, tomorrow evening, and this is broadcasted by Expert Channel TV. But if they find me, send me an email. Look for me on Facebook.
Everyone, I'm going to get that information right now. We just had a little bit of beyond the pond blip in there. So
Oh,
we will have
okay.
that come back and that on the pond blip. Go ahead and tell us again about the summit that's coming up, Alex.
So there's a summit that's going to be broadcasted by Expert Channel TV. I had to think for it. Expert Channel TV. So if you go on LinkedIn, look for me, and you'll find a link to the summit. And I'm going to talk about leadership, light leadership. What does it mean? Why do we need to be leaders when we're running our own business? And why do we need to believe and claim abundance when we want to claim abundance? Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you. And everyone, I'm just saying, our 5th book coming out is 365 Days of Abundance by entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers. And yes, there's just a few pages left. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you so much for being in the book. I appreciate you so much. And let's not do this every 2 years. Let's do this a few more times each year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You've been watching The Iron Entrepreneur Show, a production of the Iron Entrepreneur Radio Network with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.